Imagine a society where you're given a house to live, free food, but in return you have to serve the community in whatever way you can. If you're a plumber, you do free repairs for everyone. So you get the drift. Well, similar setting in there is there in our gut too. There are trillions of bacteria living in our body and around 37 trillion of them living only in our gut. And those bacteria together are called the microbiota. They live in our intestine and they are permitted to live and colonize our gut, but they need to help the host, that is us, in several ways. In return, what are the functions of the microbiota in our body? Digestion. They help in digestion of fiber in the food that we eat, and they also help in absorption of vitamins. They help in strengthening the immune system of the gut. They help in the production of mucus, which forms like a barrier in our gut. So let me go into details about each of these functions that the intestinal microbiome, which is a balanced community of different microorganisms living in our intestine, does. So the first one is, as I said, they help in the digestion of fiber-rich foods. So fruits, vegetables and grains, they're all excellent source of fibers in our diet. But the fiber in our diet cannot be digested by us. We humans cannot digest the fiber in our food. We do not have the enzymes to digest them. This fiber is an excellent source of nourishment for the bacteria which are living inside us. They have the enzymes to digest them. So they digest the fiber in our diet and they produce something called the short chain fatty acids. Now these short chain fatty acids, then they gain entry into our intestinal lining and they can be utilized by our body. The short chain fatty acids are an important source of fuel for our intestinal epithelium, that is these cells which are the intestinal epithelial cells, and they also are known to strengthen our gut barrier function. These short chain fatty acids, once they gain entry, they interact with with the defense cells which are also present just below the intestinal epithelial cells, and thus they play a major role in immunity and have anti-inflammatory properties. So as I said, the second function of the microbiota, how they help us, is they improve the immune function of the gut. And this is how they do. By digesting the fiber, producing the short chain fatty acids, which in turn go and interact with the defense cells, and they play a major role in immunity and have anti-inflammatory properties. And the third function is that the bacteria, there are some bacteria present in our intestines which produce a lot of mucus, and this mucus forms like a layer. Of course, this mucus is also produced by our epithelial cells, but in addition to it, some of the bacteria also produce a lot of mucus, and this mucus forms like a barrier, a defense system, like a physical barrier which separates the bacteria which are present in the food that we eat, and it avoids the breach of the intestinal barrier. And failure of this protective barrier to separate harmful toxins and bacteria in our food from the epithelium can lead to disease. So this microbiota, by forming this mucus layer, forms a major barrier in our intestine. So when the microbiota living inside us is serving so many functions and helping us in so many ways, isn't it important to protect the bacteria, the microbiota in our body? How do we protect it? Diet. Diet plays a major role in healthy microbiota. Nutritious food in the form of fruits and vegetables is associated with a healthy microbiota. They are a source of fiber, which, as we saw earlier, is a food source for microorganisms, the microbiota in our body. Since the intestinal mucosa and its residing microbiota constitute the first site of interaction between the diet and our inside, one has to make sure that interaction is pleasant. Various lifestyle and environmental factors such as hygiene, the use of antibiotics, together with consumption of Western diet, which are low in fiber and high in fat and sugar, are associated with an imbalanced intestinal microbiota, which in turn can lead to a lot of diseases. Thus, what we eat plays a major role in colonization of good bacteria in our microbiota, and it plays a major role in healthy microbiota.